everyone, and welcome to Your Brand, My Life, the show about the good, the bad, and the ugly of brand identity and its intersection with social media. My name is John Engelman, and I am your host, and this is my very, very first episode of Your Brand, My Life, so I feel that it's only appropriate I talk a little bit about why I'm doing this show. Like I said, my name is John Engelman. I am 29 years old. I am currently the co-owner of a small business called MidwestPeeps.com. And I was recently unemployed in February of 2009 and finally did something I've always wanted to do with my life, and that's grow this small business that I've helped build and try to make it bigger. And we are by no means a big company now, but we have experienced some growth, and one of the things I've become most interested in as I've gotten more into business is brand identity and social media and how those two interact. And I'm very excited about looking at both of those things, both good brands and bad brands, and brands that don't get it and brands that do get it, and the way they use tools like Facebook and Twitter and MySpace, which nobody really uses anymore, but you know, at one point they did and have made that transition maybe to Facebook or Twitter. But I think it's very, very interesting, and I think there's a ton of ground to cover. And I also want to take this show one step further by bringing some of these brands into my life and living with these brands and talking about these brands. And maybe that's something in the future, but I do envision this show maybe getting to a point where I have some brands that are sponsoring me, and I can take those brands out into the public and do some things with them through my other company and other things. I do spend a lot of time traveling. I do have a favorite band that I see often, and do know a lot of people there, and I think there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of interesting stuff to be done with social media and branding, and talking about branding and brand identity and how people perceive brands and use them in their everyday life. There are definitely people that are in love with their brands. I'm drinking Coca-Cola today, for example. It's a brand that everybody knows, and it's a brand that people, you know, collect Coca-Cola cans and bottles from the 40s and 50s, and coolers and refrigerators, and you know, you talk about a brand that's got, you know, Coca-Cola when you see it. And I haven't looked into their usage of social media, but I know that they do have a website and do some interesting things, I'm sure, there. And maybe that's a company that I'll take a look at in the future. Like I said, I'm passionate about branding and want to share my thoughts and ideas and observations about branding with everybody, and hopefully create a lot of interesting feedback and maybe start some conversations that make small companies think about the way that they brand themselves, or maybe doing things differently, better or worse. Maybe they're doing something great and other things not great. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to look at, and hopefully I'll learn some stuff along the way, and maybe I'll meet some people that are going to teach me stuff. Maybe they'll learn something from me. But I do think I've got my finger on the pulse of the social media world to some degree. I might not be the top of the pile in it, but I do understand how it works, and I understand how people think and what people want when they're in an environment like that, because I think I'm one of those people. So I'm excited to see what we learn and what kind of companies we pick up with, and see what happens. So join me for my first official episode, which should be next week, early in the week, and I hope to make this hopefully a daily thing, or at least every other day, talking about brands and brand identity and how they interact with social media, and maybe picking up on things that I find in the day, or hot stories that have to do with branding and social media, maybe brands doing really cool things, interesting things. There's definitely a lot of stuff I want to talk about. I get texts from Arby's about free food. That's something that I want to talk about. I think Arby's maybe is doing a pretty smart thing there. So we'll see what happens. So we'll see you next time on Your Brand, My Life. Again, my name is John Engelman, and I want your brand in my life.